But it's okay if I get
Yeah, sure.
So how do you feel about what's happening in Australia at the moment?
I think it's appalling. It's an appalling loss of, they've literally lost all their rights and all their freedom in such a short space of time. They've lost their right to protest. The protesters who've gone out on the streets, they've had the army out there.
Should we move somewhere else with the music? It's always typical that.
Yeah. The army have come out and they've dealt with protesters so incredibly harshly, and including this use of sort of pepper spray and rubber bullets. And we know that rubber bullets actually have quite a high fatality rate. They're not as sort of harmless as they sound at all. We know people have died because of the rubber bullets. People are losing their jobs, losing all of their rights to access society, basically. And you've got this situation in the Northern Territories, like I said now, where they seem to be using it as an excuse particularly to target the Aborigines. They are basically rounding up the Aborigines and placing them in, quarantine camps, they call them, but with no kind of, no prospect of release actually at the moment. And they are going door to door. And these people have no rights, no one standing up for them. This goes against everything. It goes against all kind of principles of international law and the Nuremberg Code. It's one of the most fundamental freedoms is our right to decide what goes into our own body, and that right is being taken away from us at the moment. And this is really scary because if this goes ahead, literally you will have no rights over your own body in the future. I know I've seen the documents that the EU Parliament discussed a long time ago in relation to that, saying that once they're introduced, it's not only a question of being kept up to date with your whatever the latest kind of that they've kind of got planned for us, but you will also have to be updated with anything you've missed in your school time schedule as well. This could be huge nonsense, and every jab has a risk, we know that. So how can you possibly mandate something that we know could actually kill you? We know that there are all these, we've got the MHRA yellow card scheme in the UK. Are you aware of that? Yeah. Showing the kind of where people are reporting the adverse reactions and the deaths. In America, you've got the VAERS scheme, VAERS, people can check that. In Europe, it's Vigilance. We've already, between those three databases, and we know that only a very small percentage of are reported, possibly somewhere between 1 and 10%, and that's already millions. Yeah.
How do you feel about the lack of mainstream media reporting on them?
It's shocking, really, the extent to which the mainstream media has been completely taken over by the corporate funding. I mean, I think Bill Gates alone, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, have funded mainstream news outlets to the tune of $391 million in the last couple of years. So and I think that's a massive reason why you won't get any of this information on the mainstream media.
And how do you feel about the lockdowns in other countries and here?
The thing is that the government keeps saying that they're following the science, but there is no science backing these. If you kind of look at the research that's actually being done, there's nothing scientific about just having these, particularly because they're not even medical grade. They're just kind of any old cloth you can cover yourself. If you can breathe through it, then a can pass through it. That's the fact. They don't protect you from anything. They're even, last year the government was saying, weren't they, Chris Whitty and so on, they were saying, oh well, it's psychological, it makes you feel safer. Like this time last year when they were speaking slightly more truth, they were saying then, the don't work, it makes you feel safer. So we're being lied to on a massive scale. Yeah. And we know the same. I mean, there's actually a thing interestingly in the law around legislation, government legislation, that kind of says that you cannot have, you cannot have government implemented legislation without doing, I can't think what the word is now, it's like a cost-benefit analysis. That should have been done for before they were implemented, but nothing like that's happened. There have since then been about 30 studies, I think, worldwide on the effects of kind of, all of which show that they have, no benefit, health benefits in that sense, in terms of stopping, and they do massive amount of economic damage, as we know, to the country.
If you had a message to the kids, so the kids that watch the streams and will watch the video after I edit it and everything, what message would you give to them?
I'd say stop watching the mainstream media. Start, using, well, clearly if they're watching you, they've already found some alternative sources of media. But, on no account take these, they're very dangerous. And get organised, find your local groups. There are lots of groups now that are active around the country. There are the stand-up groups, we're the Norwich Light Network. Come join us if you're in this part of the country. Connect with the Light newspaper, connect with the Stand for Our, what are they called? I can't remember what they're called now. Save Our Rights group, yeah, and Stand Up X and so on. There's a lot that you can do, but and don't comply. Do not comply. It's really important.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.